What's up, guys? Connor Ferguson here with another episode of the Always Race Day podcast. I got Ayrton Gennetten to co-host this one with me. Damon and Josh didn't want to work today. I gave them the day off because I'm such a good boss, and I just think about my employees like that don't get paid very much whatsoever. Once again, though, we are sponsored and presented today by the Karl Auto Group. Got to give them a shout out. If you're looking for a car, that's the place to go. Go to the Karl Auto Group, and they will hook you up, especially if you tell them that you know the guys at the Always Race Day podcast. So appreciate them for everything they do. They're our biggest partner on the site. And if you're interested, we interviewed a driver on Thursday, I think, and 500,000 views on the video on Twitter. So at random, when we go to races, people watch. So especially if someone says anything outlandish about Knoxville Raceway. So if you're looking to partner up with us, let us know. My DMs are open on Twitter, and I'll get right back to you as quickly as I can. So, Ayrton, what's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much. Just getting ready for a big week at Eldora for the Four Crown.
Yeah, and just back from the Hocket, you seemed pretty frustrated when I texted you about it. What was your weekend like out there?
Yeah, this year they they tried a new format and they knocked it down from a 3-day show where we'd run all 3 nights to splitting the field up, and then like we got caught up in a wreck, just not of our doing, and kind of cost us a little bit points wise and put us behind the 8 ball for our Saturday night show, which we ended up running Sunday day. So it was one of them deals where it was kind of a racing deal, nothing we could do to change it. We recovered well. We got back to 11th from the back after getting in that wreck running 6th. So and then Sunday day, just the day shows, just constant rubber down, and just wasn't fun for anyone there really, other than maybe Ryan Timms and Ricky Lewis, who ended up winning. But it was one of them deals where it's just you're stuck behind the 8 ball and you're constantly behind the 8 ball, so you're just kind of stuck. It wasn't very fun. So I know they ended up doing track prep like 7 times on Sunday to try and get the track back. They just never got it to stop taking rubber until the ASCS feature. So it was like a 8.5 or 9 hour program from the time we started hot laps to the last checkered flag. So it was kind of a crapshoot to say the least on Sunday. But I felt like just kind of the way the events unfolded, it just wasn't really good situation for the racetrack or this, the weekend at all. So the place has had awesome races there before with the Hocket. It's been great, phenomenal, but this year just kind of like a lot of rubber down. Like it's been pretty dry, but it's also, we got new tires, so it can go either way there, but it just sucks when you're in a situation where you're chewing through, as much tires as that. So I think we ended up throwing away 6 rear tires and 3 front tires. And I know one of my buddies, went through even more than that. So just not an idea.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to clarify for the people at home. I think that's Ayrton's phone vibrating. He's not ripping ass every 30 seconds on the show. Wouldn't put it past him, but we're going to talk state of the sport in a little bit here. But with races like that, when you get that rain delay to go to, the next day, whether it's Sunday, Saturday, or the other, would you rather have it, be scheduled at the same time the Saturday night show is, with the promise of like, we're going to have at least a little less rubber than we would if we ran it mid-afternoon? Or do you guys just want to get out of there so bad, and with taxing schedules and everything that you guys have to do to make a buck in this sport, is it just all about, let's get home to our families?
Really, like everyone there, like I think the reason they moved it up was to try to get people to stay and race on Sunday, which I mean, like everyone I talked to that was there, they all said the same thing. Like, we want to run it during the night. Like, the guys who are going to leave no matter what. Like, they're leaving because they're far away from home. They need to go home. It ain't going to change their decision at all. If actually, I know some of the guys who left because it was a day show and not because it was ran that night. So, it was kind of one of them deals where they didn't really even ask us or see what we thought. It was just kind of whatever they wanted to do, which is, part of it. Like, they're the promoters, they make the decisions. But sometimes it's like they hot lapped us Saturday night, like it was lightning, getting ready to rain, and they're like, first group of hot laps, let's go. And it's like, man, we just got done with the rain shower, the track's not even close to being ready, and we go out there and everyone's stuck in the first set, and I was one of the guys in the first set, so I wasn't very happy about it either. Hindsight's 2020. I shouldn't have went out there. I should, because I knew it was going to rain, but I did it because I felt like I have to try. So it's one of them deals where it was just kind of like, you go through that Saturday night and then you go into rubber down right away on Sunday. It's just another thing to be frustrated with. So I know everyone there that I talked to, they'd rather ran it during the night, because by the time it was said and done, we wouldn't have been that much farther behind. We probably would have been done at 11:30, 12 at the latest. And they were done at 10:30, 11. So they really didn't save any time. They actually just cost them more time, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, it is what it is. But hopefully next year, if they get in a situation like that, they'll do a little better job, in my opinion, and maybe they'll see what us drivers want to do.
For sure. And you say that as a Missouri guy who doesn't have to have too far home to travel, right?
Yeah, I had about an hour and 15-minute drive, and I know some of the guys who had a lot farther drives that would prefer to race that night. So
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so this is kind of the reason we had you on. Other than, I mean, we might do this regularly in the future, me and you on a show every week or so. But you tweeted, see a lot of "we need this, we need that" on Twitter. What we actually need is more of this, referring to this regional Maverick Wing Sprint Car Series that was just announced, and you said a good paying series in more regions to build larger fields to eliminate large travel times for some teams to give more drivers chances to earn money. And kind of like a tiering the series like During Dingus likes to do for the Knoxville Nationals power rankings. Love that guy. Fantastic dude.
yeah, so my opinion there, and a lot of people may have different opinions on the way for drivers to make money. And the one thing I'll say is, if you want to be like a guy like me that's kind of runs my own deal, I work on all my own stuff. I have guys that help me as well. I got to pay for crew members, and then I see all the bills. I have to get sponsorship to pay the bills. Well, for me to go out and run to make money, I'm either going to have to drive to Knoxville to race weekly. Well, if I'm racing Knoxville, there's no really, and if you're going to go run Sunday at Houston, it's an extra 11 hour, or it's an extra 5 hours up there and 6 hours back instead of just the 4 hours home. So, being in the Midwest, I probably see it more than most places. Like people in Ohio and Pennsylvania, they got it kind of where they can run, a few separate tracks. They have like the series like Fast, they got the Central PA stuff. So they have series where they can race and, race consistently and make money that way. Where like for us, like we recently just had Power Eye come available with Kenny Brown, paying $5,000 to win, and it pays decent throughout the field. And then now with the Maverick series, and you got MOA and IRA, and you got a few other small series here and there. But like really for a guy that's kind of in the middle tier of competition or skill level or whatever you want to put it as, the middle tiered class of drivers, we need events like that racing at more regional tracks where, say, the Outlaws and the All-Stars will come race there, or High Limit comes and race there, whatever it may be. When they do come, we've raced that track more and we've got laps there, and it's going to help us be better when they come, which in the end will actually make our regional racing stronger. And then it'll also give the All-Stars, High Limit, Outlaws, whatever, more competition. And it actually helps us grow our brand as well, which that's how you become a better race car driver. Is you grow your brand, you grow your name. And, the one thing you can never replace is confidence. So, like I know for sure, like we won a Power Eye race at Lake Ozark, and then we had another weekend there where I was able to race Lake Ozark twice before the All-Stars came, and I was able to play around with some setup stuff, and I was able to kind of get comfortable. And really, I think if I don't do that, I'm probably not in the dash with the All-Stars that night.
Yeah, and I mean the big thing with the theory, kind of with those tracks that host these big races, especially you're hosting a High Limit and it's paying $2,000 to win, or you're or 2,000 to start, not 2,000 to win. Apologies. Yeah, but you have these like when the Outlaws came to Houston, and they prepped the track completely and entirely different than they had every Sunday, obviously with the goal of it not rubbering up like it had multiple shows in the past, but it really put the local drivers a step behind unless they were really quick to adapt. And obviously that's part of the sport too. You just have to be quick with your changes. But a lot of those smaller shows, my buddy Ricky Weiss winning the Baltas Classic at Eldora, it didn't, maybe it didn't look like it by the end of the weekend, but it definitely helped his performance a little bit there throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I really credit like us getting to run a few races at Lake Ozark before the All-Stars come, to like us getting to run those races allowed us to run so good at the All-Star show where we ran fourth. And then, getting to run just more racetracks in the region and not just being stuck running one or two tracks consistently. Like that's how you become a better race car driver, is racing more tracks and adapting to changes. So, it's always nice to have a place like Knoxville and Houston where you can consistently race. But you'll never grow outside of just racing there. Like you got to really race more regional stuff and be willing to travel. And, that's how you become a better driver. And, in my case, I'm also doing my own crew chiefing. So that's how I become a better crew chief as well. So I think this Maverick deal is going to do a great job. Hopefully they can do a good job and, get a good amount of races in Indiana. And I know a lot of people are like, well, there's not a lot of wing sprint cars in Indiana, but you may see guys who run non-wing stuff venture into the wing stuff like Courtney and Wyndham have, and Bacon. So, which Bacon was a wing driver first, but, the guys to go run some wing stuff that are non-wing drivers, well, then guys from Ohio and, Eastern Illinois, like they're going to go to Indiana too. So, and it pays great. They got a great purse. So, stuff like that, like that's how you grow the middle drivers to kind of go from maybe being the middle ground to maybe being the high middle ground where we can run top 10s and top 5s with the Outlaws when they're in our region. And that's how you grow the sport, in my opinion, is putting on more regional races, which can allow more drivers to grow and make more money. So, it's always nice when you got big paying races with high start money, but in the end, there's only 24 guys who are in that show where, if we can all become better drivers, yeah, there's still only going to be 24 guys in the show, but it ain't going to hurt as bad when we miss those shows because we have races where we can make more money to, maybe if we miss a show, it doesn't hurt as bad on our wallet or whatever else. So, the regional racing, in my opinion, like with Power Eye, and then this Maverick deal coming along, like it's really going to benefit it. Like Fast does a great job. IRA does a great job. MOA's doing like they bumped their payouts this year as well. So everyone doing things to create more money in the middle area, I think is going to help the top end as well. So that's where it's like, yeah, it's awesome. High Limit's putting on these Tuesday night races, but look how spread out they are. Like a guy like me, like I can't justify running that because I can't travel there for Tuesday night. And then, if I'm running Knoxville points, like it's a lot of travel.
You're committed to a big race outlaw schedule. Think with that thinking kind of, and it's a big race, true outlaw schedule, because not every race was surrounding a weekend of an outlaws race. It was surrounding a weekend of a higher paying sprint car race, or at least one that was going on that week.
Yeah. And then, but the bad part is too, like you do that, like, and, like for me, like I had to think about the guys I had to work for, like, can they do that schedule? Like, can their schedule make that schedule work? So that's where it's like more regional, good paying weekend races will help it. So
you don't want to pull me to crew for you?
Last year before, so in 2022, I think Knoxville was the only place you could go really race for $5,000 other than the All-Stars of the Outlaws. Maybe the Grove. I'm not sure what the Grove's payout is, but this year now Huset's, Power Eye, Knoxville, the Maverick Series, like they're all going to pay $5,000 to win every race, bare minimum, and that's all in the Midwest. So purses being raised everywhere, like that's going to help the middle class drivers. I call them middle class, but that's going to help the middle ground drivers probably take that next step, because that allows us to, race at a high level with each other, but also build our confidence. And then confidence is how you build yourself to go take on guys like that.
Yeah. And like you said, I don't think you're out of line calling anyone like a middle class driver. I mean, you're looking at the top 15 or 20 guys in the country, and that's kind of your top tier, and everyone else kind of falls into tier 2, depending on what you're running and stuff like that. We might have lost Ayrton. Hopefully not. We'll see. You're good.
I had to decline it real quick.
There we go. But yeah, like you said, the massive amounts of guys we've seen who used to compete for USAC non-wing titles, like Kevin Thomas Jr., my guy this year, Jake Swanson, is competing for one, but we've seen Jake in a wing car. We've seen KTJ move to a wing car. And that was, dang, Ayrton, you are having a night with that. Busy guy. But a lot of those non-wing guys moved to sprint cars because there was more money in them. Well, that kind of defeats the purpose if you're not getting better every week and in a program where you're in a place to succeed every week. So these regional series could end up being a really big addition to, every weekend in the growth and the development ladder of the sport as well.
Yeah, like actually it's like you mentioning KTJ, we were at the truck stop after the second night of the Power Eye race, and he had just won that race, actually, the Power Eye show at Lake Ozark. And I was talking to him, and he was telling me how much it boosted his confidence being able to go to a race like that and win, because they're still good cars.
Right.
On me, Garrett, KTJ, McHugh, Zach Hampton, Joe B. Miller. We had some other good regional guys too as well there. So it's like there's really good cars there. So like to win that race, like, he's not racing, a guy like Donnie Schatz or Brad Sweet or Larson or Rico or Marks or Mack or whatever, but he's still racing really good guys. So when he wins that race, it's going to boost his confidence. So now he's probably like, oh man, like I can do the wing deal. So now you're going to actually get him to be more confident in the wing car. And, I think he did pretty decent at Kokomo with the high limit series. I don't know where he ended up in the future. I know he's in the dash. So like for him, like to do that, like that's going to benefit him a lot. And I think that's what you'll see with them doing this Indiana deal with the Maverick series is you're going to get guys who maybe not be as confident as a wing racer become more confident because they're going to be able to run up front with good competition and good paying money.
Yeah, and KTJ is an Alabama fan, so he's usually doing all right.
He'll win there one way or another.
So we talk about money and stuff and how to make money, and it really does matter, where your sponsors are at, what money you're bringing in from that, your T-shirt sales, and everything before race reward. But speaking of, and kind of likely so, it's tough to go to Tulsa in January for a week and race the Chili Bowl and make money. And we've now seen our third defending champ kind of pull out of the Chili Bowl with Rico Abreu announcing his Australia schedule. I want to know, as a driver of, and I say this in the same vein of your talent level, even you're a former Tulsa shootout champion, but I want to know what guys like you think of all these big names leaving. Like, I don't think it changes your plans for Tulsa. At least I assume you might try to work out a deal. It's probably a little too early to talk about it with the same team you raced there with last year.
Yeah, really like I know like Larson and them they're doing it because the purse it needs to kind of. I do agree the purse does need to be raised.
And I think part of Christopher Bell's is something with Joe Gibbs. I haven't heard that out of his mouth, so I don't want to assume anything there. But
yeah, it's one of them deals where it's like for a top tier guy, if you're going to go down there, if you're going just for the event and to race in the event, you don't really care about the purse. It's a great event to attend. It's a great event to race in. It's really awesome, and you don't get a lot of seat time throughout the winter. So if you're not going to, Australia or something, it's beneficial for you to go down there and race. So that's probably where you see some of the car count too. You see guys who may have that mindset. But yeah, the purse deal, like that's something too, where it's like, yeah, they're getting all the cars, but they need to do something to give back to the drivers. Like there's been stuff out there about the Chili Bowl and the shootout, deal, whatever, where the shootout finally raised their purse a little bit. I think the Chili Bowl did. I'm not really sure, but they could go an extra level or something, but it's one of them deals where it is what it is. It's going to take a lot of people to make a difference because guys like Rico, Larson, Bell, or maybe even some other guys like Clausen Marshall and them not running it, like, yeah, that helps, but until they see a big drop in their car count, like they're not going to change anything, and that's just one of them deals where once that event's been so established, it's hard to get a change, so changes have to come within on stuff like that. So hopefully it can for the drivers and stuff. As far as my plans for Chili Bowl, I'm not really sure if we're going yet or not. I haven't talked to Mickey and the guys yet. I'll actually see them this week at Fort Crown. So hopefully we can talk there and just kind of see what they're thinking. And, maybe we can do it again. Maybe we don't. It's whatever they want to do, I'll always say, like, I'll never rent a ride. So if it comes down to I don't have a free ride, I ain't going. I just don't see the purpose in renting a ride for me. Like, I'll just take that month off to relax. And, it's costly, even if you're going just to race. Like, you got to think about a week. I think it's 8 days now worth of hotels you got to be down there, so you're constantly you're going to spend a lot no matter what. So that's another reason these guys probably don't want to go, because the purse, because it's like, how can I justify racing for 10, whatever it is? I don't know if it's above 10 grand now or not. I haven't really looked. And, if it's only 10 grand to
Yeah,
win,
it's 10 still.
yeah. So if it's only 10, it's like, how do you justify, most of them guys, they're going to have family down there. They're going to spend close to $3,000 in a weekend. It's tough to justify going down there unless you just, but if you're going just for the event and the race and it and stuff like that, like that's no big deal. But if you're going down there to make money, it's one of them deals you'll never make money.
Yeah, it's really tough when you got a small ad budget and then like 2 days before the race starts, Ayrton texts you and says, you got to get your own hotel room, man. We don't got room.
That was not my doing.
I know the background. Don't worry. That be said, if you're interested in partnering up with us, let me know, please. Especially for 2024, we got some big things planned. But yeah, it doesn't make a ton of financial sense. Do you think it will take like a massive drop in car count, or do you think at some point, like we've seen enough defending champs drop out that maybe they'll up the purse this year in reaction to that? How many names do you think it would even take out of those big names? Because you still have big names, I mean, through the back of the D almost.
Yeah. I was thinking, I've looked at it, and it's just one of them deals where you're almost going to have another race the same time frame, put on the same exact kind of cars and paying a lot of money. You're going to have competition. And I think, because even if you lose 100 cars, they still have 200 some entries. Well,
Right.
yeah, fans going to be like, oh, there's only 200 entries. But if you're just looking at it from the outside in, like 200 entries is still a lot of cars.
I think late model, you'd lose like at least 15 late model fans because they always tweet us about car counts.
Yeah. So I mean, and there's nothing going on, so they'll never really lose that unless they have competition, in my opinion. You have to put something on that's really gonna, dish into their pockets or whatever. That's really gonna kick them in the butt. So until that happens, I don't think it's gonna change. And I don't know if anyone will have the magnitude of the place to do it. That's another thing. You got to have that magnitude of a place. Like, really, like I said, the best thing that could have gone against it was the dome. Having a midget race the same week and paying 50 grand to win, 5,000 to start, and getting all the big names there, and then seeing if they can compete. But even then, it's such a big risk. It's like, what justifies their risk?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to Four Crown this weekend. I think last time you were at Eldora, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you ended up in the A-Man of the King's Royal, right?
We went last year for Four Crown. We blew up in hot laps.
That's why I don't remember it. There we go.
Blew up in hot laps, and then we had a motor that was like 22 nights on it, and it was just on its last leg. So I don't really count last year's Four Crown as like a good event for us. But yeah, before that, we went to the King's Royal to Saint in 2022. We made the King's Royal, ran 10th at the Joker's Wild. And then the year before that at Four Crown in 21 was really kind of the first time I really think people kind of noticed who I was. It was like my first really big outing against the Outlaws and the All-Stars as well. We ran 8th on Friday night, probably should have ran 5th or 6th. And then on Saturday night, we ran 3rd with the All-Stars. So I love Eldora. I'm really excited to go there and kind of do it on my own, set it up on my own, and see how I can make myself feel and see if I can get myself comfortable. And I feel like I've learned a lot about the half mile stuff this year, and I feel like I've been getting my cars better and better. So I'm really excited to go to Eldora this weekend and see what we can do, and hopefully, bust out a pair of top 10s or have some respectable runs for us going back.
We gotta shoot for top 5s for you at Four Crown.
I think if the night goes well, I think if we can I think if we can land we'll start in the top 10. I definitely think we can put a top 5 together, because I feel really confident around that place. And it's just, if we can get the car good, I definitely think we can get into the top 5
for sure. And then just for the people at home, note to go out on: what is your schedule looking like the rest of the year, and what are your big goals?
Yeah, so like kind of like what I talked about earlier, like I do think the regional stuff is kind of what needs to be supported right now. It needs to grow, as well as having having 2 premier series. You need to have really good regional series as well. So I think we'll for sure be at we'll be at Fort Crown this weekend. September 30th, we're kind of in the air about what to do. We don't really know what our plans are that weekend. But the following weekend, we're going to go support the Maverick Series and run the Lincoln Park deal. So, it's something where it's kind of something I've been saying needs to happen. And with them putting it on, like, I feel like I should go support it. So I'm going to go there and support that. And then I think we're going to make a trip to Atomic and run with Fast on Saturday night. And then look to Lincoln Park with the High Limit Series on the 10th of October. And then we got some outlaw stuff the next few weekends. And then we'll finish the year with Power Eye down in Oklahoma and try and wrap up the championship with them.
Yeah, you got a 200 point lead in the Bandit Outlaw Sprint Series.
Yeah, so just it's crazy. Like when we went into the weekend where we took the point lead in the last 4 races, like me and Joe B were kind of left. The 2 guys left because Crockett had his deal with his kidney, so he was kind of just ruled out. And he got bad luck at Wheatland, which so did I. But then the next 3 nights we were able to chew into it, and we actually got the point lead, and then was able to grow it and grow it and grow it. So I feel like if we can just go down to Oklahoma, put 3 good runs together, try to win a race or 2, and just stay in front of Joe B the whole weekend and try and wrap up that championship would be really nice. So that stuff too, like being able to get to the end of the season and get a check for winning a points title or just a points title or points in general, like that helps the teams go a long way. So hopefully we can have a good rest of the year with them. We got 3 races left, and then just start building our plans for next season, which as of now is still in the air. I don't really know what I'll be doing or where I'll be at, but I'm sure we'll get it figured out pretty soon, hopefully.
Should have thrown the old JJ Hickle line that, I got to see what my options are in Pennsylvania and Ohio. And how many options do you have in Pennsylvania? Well, 0.
Yeah, I'll see how many national touring options we got coming up. Right now we're at a solid 0, but I think, I feel like if we can go to Fort Crown, put on some good runs, and then, when we do race with the Outlaws to end the season, if we can have some good runs there, maybe guys who are kind of on the fence about what they're going to do next year for a driver or a team as far as, whatever they want to do. Maybe I can sneak into a situation like that. But, I feel like with where I'm going with how I've been able to grow as a driver and a crew chief this year and the way my team supported me and stuck behind me the whole way, if I can figure out a way to kind of do my own deal, like this year, like doing a deal with Brody Hayward, like that's a partnership deal we got together. If we can do something like that again, if he's interested, or if I can, end up just have to do my own deal, whatever, like I'll feel just confident doing that as I would be for driving for somebody on a national level or wherever, that would be. So, there's a lot of pride in being able to do it on your own, having your own sponsors, doing the work to get the sponsors and then doing the work in the shop and, being the guy who's making the decisions on the setup, like stuff like that. There's a lot of pride that goes into it for me. So, I've learned to really, really enjoy that side of this. And it's something that, when I get to the end of the year and like we're leading the points with Power Eye Series and we're winning races, we're running good at Knoxville at the end of the year. And, we beat Brown and Garrett at Sedalia, and we've been fast against a lot of really good cars and a lot of different places and a lot of new places. So stuff like that makes me really proud in our team. And it makes it hard to want to do something different. But, if the right opportunity presents itself, like I would jump on anything if it's right. So, I don't know. There's a lot to think about, and until you get the call or an offer, it's just all thinking. So just in the back of your head. But, right now, as far as my plans are, it's to keep working with my guys and build what we got and try and, keep doing what we're doing and maybe try and get a win with the Outlaws or a High Limit or All-Stars.
Well, it's been a really cool year to follow Ayrton, especially how it started and what it's turned out to be. So if you're a big money partner that wants to hop on with us, call Ayrton first. I'm not that important. He needs it more than I do. So other than that, thanks to the Karl Auto Group, we'll catch up with Ayrton in October, I think, at those Outlaw shows and maybe the High Limit race too. But till then, appreciate y'all listening, and let us know what you think of Ayrton's podcasting skills. He doesn't think he's very good, and he's pretty damn good at it. So appreciate y'all for listening. Thanks again.